What songs would you want played at your own funeral? Welcome to Farewell with Four, Melodies for a Final Goodbye on Curious Goldfish, the music podcast about more than music. Each guest picks 4 songs they want played at their funeral. No rules, no judgment, just music that defines them. It's a rare, intimate glimpse into the artists you love, revealing their deepest connections to music, legacy, and meaning. Laughs, surprises, maybe even a few tears. Farewell with Four is about celebrating life through the songs that matter most. Tune in and get to know your favorite artists like never before. Farewell with Four, Melodies for a Final Goodbye. On this episode, we have the honor of talking with Nashville singer-songwriter Clare Cunningham.
Hey, Claire. So good to see you again.
Oh, you too. It's been a while.
It's about a year since I saw you down at the 38 Festival. You always keep busy and doing all sorts of great things. I guess how's 2025 shaping up for you?
It's good. There seems to be a lot of different moving parts continuing, but just kind of with this year, I said going into 2025, I was going to say, okay, Lord, I'm going to let you direct this year instead of me getting in the way of everything and try to overbook and overdo things. I'm just trying to live a little more like, okay, let's see what's coming. So it's been good so far. I can't believe it's already like past mid-February.
Right. Yeah. Hopefully we'll start to thaw out a little bit too. It's been so cold.
Oh, tomorrow.
Yeah. We'll see. I follow you on all the social media stuff. You release music pretty consistently, but like I guess that this year, do you have anything kind of bigger planned, or is it more singles, or what's that look like?
Just singles at the minute. I had thought about doing another album, and that may or may not happen, but it just seems right now is focused on like singles, and it just seems like a full album right now. It's a lot of work as well, and I'm like, maybe I'll just keep doing singles until something, or maybe another EP or something. But for now, I'm happy doing like a single a month kind of. That's where I'm at.
So we are here to do something kind of new that I'm trying to start up just for the podcast. Some friends of mine recently, I was talking to them about music and impact of music on their lives and things like that. And they were like, we actually talk about kind of our funeral playlist, what songs we want on our, when we die, played at each other's funeral. I thought it was really interesting. And of course their playlists have like 30 songs, that they love to talk about and stuff. And I thought about, so I asked questions of artists like you, right? And I try to get to know you. I try to get to know all the things that you want to do with your music, whether that's helping the less fortunate, helping people with a positive message, inspiring people, things like that. And I thought, just for the sense of community and connection with artist fans, I thought it'd be interesting for fans of yours to understand and know what songs would you want played at your funeral. And I'm one of the more positive, optimistic folks that someone might meet. I know you, and you're very positive. So this little bit of a kind of a downer conversation, but I guess I don't think it has to be. I want it to be more of like connection and just understanding kind of what music has impacted you, so that again, when that time comes, what could fans connect to you with, if that makes sense?
No, 100%. When you sent me the email, I was like, that is such a good idea. Plus, it's like something we kind of put off. I feel like a friend of mine lost his brother not so long ago. It was very, very, very tragic and sudden. And they were like, we had such a nightmare trying to get into his banking, into closing accounts. And I thought, my gosh, yeah, if I were to die tomorrow, I don't think anybody has any clue of where anything is belong. So it got my thinking, and I was like, maybe I should like write this down and keep it somewhere. I've never had an interview like this where you're thinking about songs that you might have for your funeral.
We'll see how this goes, but I really appreciate your openness. And when I met you last year, I'm still struck a year later by just your authenticity and your intention in the world. I really appreciate your time. So what I'm going to call this, I think, is sort of the farewell with four. So Melodies for a Final Goodbye. And again, we're going to kind of focus on 4. Obviously, you know, it's your funeral. You could have more songs if you want, but I wanted to kind of understand the 4 songs that have made the most impact in your life, and you've provided them to me. I'm going to start with one that may be the most famous song in the world, but I think the one that you picked is it's an instrumental version of Amazing Grace,
Oh,
right?
yes.
I guess let's start with that one.
Yeah.
Tell us about that meeting and the impact of that song on your life.
Yeah, so Amazing Grace was one of my grandmother's favorite songs. And it's obviously, it's one of the most well known hymns all over the world. And it is, of course, used in funerals. And that's not really why I picked it. It was more to do with the fact that I feel like Amazing Grace is my story. Like, I feel like I was lost and now I'm found. And just in my own kind of walk of faith, this song and the lyrics in it really capture like my story personally. And it's a song I feel that no matter if you're religious or you're not, it's one we can connect to. Because even I used to sing it, and like I wasn't always walking with Jesus, right? And so, but it just has such a powerful impact. And when I play it, sometimes I'll play it at shows, um, every now and again, and like no matter who is in the room, they always stop to sing it with me, and I just feel like at a funeral or at an event as such, it's a great celebratory song of finding hope and the grace that God has, but also touch on its sadness because it's a real lament, really, to be
Right.
fair, So yeah, I that one was a very easy pick for me, and just um, being the wretch that I was. And being lost and blind, but now having found the light and being able to see, um, yeah, I really feel like it's definitely, I feel like my story. If I could write a song today, I feel like, yeah, it would be very much something I could connect to.
Okay.
So
That's amazing. So
that's
in Ireland, where you're from, are hymns like Amazing Grace, are they part of the sort of the musical tradition over there as well?
Yeah, for sure. And we have a lot of like laments and like Irish old folk, like a lot of sad songs, you know.
Hmm.
Yeah, something as pivotal like Amazing Grace is certainly, yes, very, very popular back home in Ireland.
Okay.
Yeah, we seem to lean more on the sad songs. You have your Irish pub songs too, but yeah, it seems
Yeah.
I think because Ireland comes from a lot of oppression and suppression,
Mm,
so it has always filtered through the lineage of the music. I
right.
spoke about that actually the last time, and I feel like, yeah, that's why it would be such a popular choice back home.
Yeah. No, that's great. All right. Well, so speaking of back home, there's an artist that you picked that I'll lean into, Christy Moore, who is a gentleman, Irish gentleman, right? What's the song that he wrote that you want to have as your second song at the funeral?
So Christy Moore is an Irish artist, an amazing Irish artist. If nobody's familiar with him, the song was actually written by a songwriter called Jimmy McCarthy, but Christy Moore is the one who made it famous. And it's a song that I sung with my sister when we were growing up, and it's had many interpretations over the years. There's not one specific like this is what this song means, but um, it's about longing for something that has been lost. And so there have been certain interpretations like a lost loved one, maybe leaving home, um, a loss of self. And so I feel like I've always connected to that because I've always, I've left home and I've left a lot of places. And it's right on, see you. I could never go with you, no matter how I wanted to. So it's like a longing to want to go with somebody, and it could be a lost love, perhaps as well. But you can kind of put your own stamp on it. and it's such a haunting song, and it's one I actually sing myself. It's the only cover that I've ever released. So I only ever release original material, but I decided an old little recording that I did of it back when I was living in Sweden. I put it on
Okay.
my Irish album last year because I feel such a connection to that song, and I have a music video to it too. And there is a horse obviously is the main kind of object of the song, and riding away, and it's kind of like a visual that like you can only do that alone. Horse riding, you can do it obviously in pairs, but it's just
Mm.
the horse normally. I just, that one was like, and just the lyrics, it's if anybody actually goes to listen to the song, you'll hear the lyrics are very, very fitting for a funeral as well.
Yeah. So the song's called Ride On, right? So hence the horse reference. I have one of the lyrics here. It says, "When you ride into the night without a trace behind, run your claw along my gut one last time."
Yeah, it's a stunning song, and the imagery in it is also as stunning. Um, and it's just, it's one of those that I don't think there's many songs that have been written like that can like just last such a timeline between decades,
Hmm.
and music industry, and it's one of Ireland's favorites as well. So
Okay.
and it
Is it
with Christy putting it out as well, he's very popular back home too.
Yeah. Is Jimmy McCarthy, is he Irish as well?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
a Irish songwriter. I believe so. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He's
Okay.
a songwriter, and I don't know why. He probably might have a version, or maybe he doesn't, because I've never heard Jimmy's version. But maybe Jimmy doesn't even sing. I've never done my homework in that respect. I know he's an older gentleman that really took the song and made it the way sometimes artists can do that.
Sure.
Songwriter isn't the one who actually makes the actual song itself. So yeah.
Well, awesome. So Amazing Grace and then Ride On, performed by Christy Moore, but written by Jimmy McCarthy. So those are the first two. I'm going to pivot now to number three, which is, I think the last two are, very popular artists, right? But the third one kind of surprised me. Michael Jackson, Heal the World, right? I don't know why it surprised me, but I was like, okay, okay, Claire.
Everybody gets so surprised when Michael Jackson was my biggest influence growing up.
Got it. Okay.
I'm like, yes. I
All right.
remember
So tell me about that song.
this song. I just feel like if everybody could listen and just apply the lyrics of this song, we would be doing so much better. Like, he was such a philanthropist, and his need and want for global peace and love just resonated the whole way through his music. But this particular song, I don't know, it just, I was so young. I might have been like, I was younger than 8. I had to have been. And I just remember hearing the lyrics, and I had written a poem, I think around the same time, called "The World" or something like that. And I was like, the world is full of animals, and I wanted everybody to get on and love each other. And I just felt so connected to Michael's heart and his music and how he portrayed messages. And I had, the only person who ever did music in the family was a cousin of mine, and they had this variety show, and they would do a lot of Michael Jackson songs, and one of them was "Heal the World." And I can still remember like going to the shows and doing all the dance moves. I feel so connected to that song. Me personally, as an artist, I want to make the world a better place. That is,
Right.
calling is to, shed light on things like unity and love and oneness. And I feel like that song really just um, resonates with me personally for that message. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
No,
not
that's great.
funeral song, but it is something that means a lot to me. And I think if people were sitting at a funeral listening, then you realize that life is too short, and we should let go
Hmm.
of let bygones be bygones, and let go of the things that don't really matter, and hold on to those that do. That's what I think this song really does, you know.
No, that's incredible. Yeah. So Amazing Grace, the word grace, and then now Heal the World, healing and redemption. From talking to you last year and knowing your music, those are, I think, two really good elements that people would say, okay, Claire, she embodies healing and she embodies grace and things like that. I guess um, in today's world, again, not politically speaking necessarily, but it just seems like there's a lot of angst, right, with economy and some conflict overseas and all the things. And again, that's not new, but it just feels like there's just so much going on right now. I mean, how important is it when you're performing live uh, for you, when you leave a show or when you talk to the fans after that idea of healing? Are people in need of healing today? Are you seeing that a lot?
Yes, for a number of reasons. I think, like everything you aforementioned, with all the troubles going on, the political stuff going on, I think people are just in a lot of fear. If they're just focusing on the negative, I think people are getting more anxious, more depressed. There's been an uptick of that, of course, in general. But I think now in this world that we're living in, I think people are just grasping onto anything, and I think they're feeling it a lot more. And I think there's more conversation around mental health and such topics. So maybe people are feeling like, okay, I can actually openly speak now. So it might seem like there's more. I think there's always been a lot of it, but I think
Right.
are more forthcoming in talking about it now. But we do live in a generation fueled by the media and fear.
Mhm.
There's a lot of, obviously, social media. There's a lot of pros to those things, but cons to the social media side of things too. So I believe everybody needs to be healed. Even when you are in a good place in life, there's always work to be done on yourself and healing, because nobody has, escaped like life without some trial or tribulation happen. And people are always losing people. There's always going to be death, and there's going to be loss of jobs or loss of, you name it. Like, and I feel like, yeah, I think people are desperately in need of healing and more music that they can feel like they can connect to. When an artist, maybe such as myself or somebody like Michael in the day, could
Mm.
just something in on that and realize, actually, yeah, like we need help.
I was just telling somebody too over the weekend, YouTube is great for a lot of reasons. You can really lose yourself in searches and videos that get teed up, but there's not too many things better than watching Michael Jackson as part of the Jackson 5 perform when he was, just a wee lad, and as he grew up. What do you think Michael Jackson's legacy is? Maybe just for you personally, but do you think his legacy in songs like Heal the World or Man in the Mirror or obviously the Thriller album, I mean, do you think those will endure and sort of supersede some of the other things that people might associate him with in terms of the press and
Yeah, which is,
yeah.
because I do have good friends who know Michael's family, and all of that wasn't like, I can't say, I wasn't
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like, there's, they try to, twist that a little bit. I honestly feel like his legacy is still going to be his music and his philanthropy and his kindness, because I think if it wasn't, it wouldn't still be around. You know what I mean? There's certain artists, and I won't name names, but as soon as some things have come out, they instantaneously get like cut from stage
Right.
and things, and that hasn't really been the case at Michael, or at least not that I've seen. And if
Yeah.
Michael Jackson, I don't ever get too much of a negative response for that, which I think is a good sign and a good thing,
Yeah. That's great.
that he has done and all that he gave. You know,
Mhm.
even any artist, look, I know people make mistakes and they do things, and sometimes maybe they don't realize it, but you can't deny somebody's talent,
Mm.
irregardless of any stories that may filter through.
Sure.
But yeah, I feel like his music is so timeless. It's still, you can still put on one of Michael's albums today, and in fact, it nearly makes more sense today with everything that's going on. Especially Heal the World.
Yes.
That's what
All
we.
right.
Yeah.
All right. So Amazing Grace, Ride On by Christy Moore, and now Heal the World with Michael Jackson. So Farewell with Four, the last song is by Garth Brooks, which is great. What song is that, and why is it so important to you?
Yeah. So Garth Brooks, The River. Uh, Probably my favorite of all of Garth's songs. And Garth was another big influence on me growing up. He's a massive name back in Ireland, and so I grew up on all of his music. The River to me is perfect for a funeral song, I think, as well, because it's, again, speaking of life's twists and turns. And I personally, as an artist with a dream is like a river, ever changing as it flows, and the dream is just a river that must follow where it goes. And it's just how, like, dreams and ambitions and things that change over the course of time. And in order to achieve that, you must keep moving forward. The rapids are, and so again, it's a song with a lot of imagery and meaning behind it, deeper than I think maybe people would like care to even go into. Um,
Right.
and it's just like, yeah, stay in the course. And that could be in life, or your personal life, your job, your whatever, despite the challenges that may come up against you. And it's just like, it definitely symbolizes life. The river is just, it's constantly flowing, and it won't, and it never stops, right? So when one passes on from this life, like, I actually just wrote a song, like, the suns will set and the rivers will flow. Like, it's you are just a blip in this, like, life, but hopefully you've made an impact in some respect. So yeah, I just feel like I can connect personally to the lyrics and the meaning behind the song, but also I grew up singing it. Like, that was
Right.
one. If I had to pick my favorite song growing up, like, definitely The River was up there
Oh,
for.
that's awesome. Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
So thanks for sharing the four songs. It's kind of a different topic, but
I love it.
it's really good, right? Because it's like, okay, what's her perspective on these things? And music has so much influence and impact on people. I can't imagine you as an artist that in your journey through the years with all the things that you've done, you live and breathe it every day. So for someone like us, or for our fans, it's really cool to hear you talk about it. I guess one last question: as we're listening to these songs, right, and we're celebrating your life, I guess, what legacy is that you want to leave behind?
That I that I just made a difference in somebody's life, that I brought as much love and joy and maybe peace and a feeling that they're not alone. That is really, I know it's my calling, but I do hope that, like, people have that sense, and they feel like also that I'm portraying what I do, that it's real and it's from my soul. And and sometimes that is confirmed by people, but it really truly is the legacy I want to leave behind, like, that I made any bit of a difference that I could, and that I planted and sowed seeds. And as much as, like, I realize that not everybody has or comes from the same faith, like, I wouldn't be here and I wouldn't be doing what I could do, nor could I spread that message if it was not for my savior. And so with that, I want to owe it back and send it back to him, because I truly am just a walking mouthpiece and a conduit to what he gives me to give to others. So realistically, and I was speaking about this in Bible study this morning, like, I am just the messenger. So as much as people might think, oh, Claire did that, like, it is not me. I can't take much credit for that. Like, I am
No.
blessed that through the gift of music and the gift of message, that I just serve as that middleman between our Savior and the person listening. So yeah.
So I kind of misspoke, because I have one more question, which you
Yeah, of
just
course.
sort of inspired. before you found your faith, did you view death way differently than you do now? Right. We're talking about 4 songs at a funeral, your funeral, which is a little bit weird, but like describe how you view that event, dying, differently than before your faith and now today.
Great question. Never been asked this and never answered it, so I'll do my best. Well, first of all, I'm not afraid of dying because when I know now, as somebody who follows and has Jesus Christ as my savior, I know I'm going to go to heaven. All right. And so there's a peace within myself that knows that there is a better place for me than this earth when I leave. So in comparison to before I believed, death is a scary place because you
Hmm.
don't know, it's the unknown. But I'm excited. I'm not excited to die because I have so much more to do. But I'm at a peace that if I was to die tomorrow, that I know I'm going to a better place. I'll have no more pain. There's going to be no more tears. There's no, there's no war. It's just such a gorgeous, peaceful place filled with people of the same mindset and wants and needs. So realistically, there are days and I'm like, you can come back tomorrow if you want, Lord. But at the same time, there's a lot of work to be done, and I still have a lot of pruning and things to do in my life and things to
Right.
achieve. But at the end of the day, it's really now because my calling is my calling, and so everything I'm doing right now isn't for now. It's like it's for eternity. So I don't know if I answered your
No,
question.
that's good.
Yeah. So yeah, my mindset on the whole dying and having and if I do have a funeral and anybody is still alive when they see this when I die, be it a celebration, wear lots of green and be happy and because I want to be celebrated rather than mourned because I'm going to be in such a good place. You don't have to worry about me there. Okay. So, for any family or friends who are, and of course, we're going to miss people. I miss people when they die too. But
Right.
they are saved and I know they're going to be, then you just know they're at peace. Feel way more at ease knowing that that's why as well I think a lot of Christians or believers, when you're in a situation that's could cause you your life or an accident, it's kind of like, well, if you're gonna die, you're gonna die. Like there's no fear,
Hmm.
or not the same amount of fear at least.
Sure. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
thanks for sharing. That was great. I'm not surprised by your answer,
Oh,
so that's awesome. But yeah, thank you so much for sharing. Yeah.
that's not a place I was like even 3 or 4 years ago. You know what I mean? The more I'm studying,
Yeah.
the more I realize how beautiful and what's to come and ahead. And sometimes we don't know everything either.
Yeah.
Still,
Right.
that we will only know when we meet him. And
Right.
yeah, but
Well, I hope you have 50 more years of music making,
me
to be
too.
honest. So,
This world is so much more than what we are experiencing here right now, but we are told and we should make the most of it and obviously do our best with the lives that we have here to make an impact for later on though, so
awesome.
yeah, bigger picture.
Well, Claire, thanks so much for sharing. Really good song choices. And yeah, I appreciate you doing that.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. And I'm looking forward to, yeah, all to come. And thank you for your podcast and everything you do because you're a great platform for that and your positive message to it too. So
Well, I appreciate that. That means a lot. Thank you, Claire. And have a great 2025.
thank you. You too.
All right. Thank you.